Okay, Algebra 1B for Mr. Fry. We're working on this statistics chapter test. And let me get through this for you. For the following problem, correctly fill in the table frequency and then create an accurate histogram of the data. The following numbers are winning scores in Geneva basketball team's history. Fill in the frequency table listed below with the given intervals, then create an accurate histogram of the data. And guys, pause this because it's going to take time to do this, and it's going to, you're going to need to pause it, maybe rewind it, or, go back in the video and check it out. So you should have tally marks here, frequency here, and then the cumulative frequency, which should add up to 33 because there's 33 total scores here, okay? And this is very similar to the assignment that you did yesterday, so you can look at that to kind of help you along the way. So, for instance, when you go through this, one strategy might be to put a line through a number if you've already used it, like 51. Okay, there's one. Let's see, another strategy, 62. Well, 62 is down here. I mean, you could go about it any way you want. Just you could go like, where does this number fit? 90 fits here. Put a tally mark. I marked off 90. 69, where does that one go? It goes here. Go that way. That's probably the fastest way if you just do that. And then once you're done with all your tally marks, right, okay, how many? Well, right now there's one, but there'll be maybe a couple there. I saw a lot of people have either 11 or 12 here, so there might be 11 or 12 here. And then the cumulative, you add up those frequencies, and they should all add up to 33 because there's 33 numbers. Don't totally blacken these out after you've used them. Just lightly draw over them because you're going to need to see these numbers later on for number 3. Next, you'll want to create your histogram down here, and over on the y-axis, you'll want to put the frequency, and I would suggest going 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And for the intervals, you're going to use the first number in each interval and then the last number overall. So you have those listed there, and then you're just going to make your bars, make sure your bars touch, and they should be reflecting the frequency for these intervals that are listed here. Then you have some questions about number 1. So looking at the frequency table from problem 1, you're going to answer this question: what winning score range was the most common? So, what's the highest bars on your histogram? B, what scoring range was the least common? What's the lowest bar range on your histogram? C, if Geneva was to win their next game, what score range would you expect them to fall under? Probably the most common. I would go with the most common. I would, refer to A up here. On that one, and D, how many games did Geneva have? How many wins did Geneva have in that 3-year span? That's going to be your cumulative amount of scores, which, your answer's right here. Big answer right there for free. For number 3, list each measure of central tendency and then include a short description of how we find and calculate all measures of central tendency. So we have the mode. That's the easiest one. That's the most often. You might want to write, the most often or most repeated there. Go back in number 1 and find in that list. That's why you didn't blacken them out, so that you could see which numbers were the most. And, it's probably going to be where you see, highest frequency. It's going to be one of those numbers in there that you see repeated the most. The range you're going to take, and that a good explanation of that is highest minus the lowest, or the greatest minus the least, however you want to word it. And then go look in that list of number 1, find the highest number, subtract the lowest number. The mean. This is where it starts to get to be work. You got to add up, and here's a good description. It's the average. The average. Okay? How do you find the average or the mean? Well, you add up all of those numbers, all 33 of those, you add them up. Keep that answer on your calculator and then hit divided by 33 because there's 33 numbers. That's what you're going to do for mean. You may want to rewind that and have that repeated. The median. The median is where it takes a lot of work. You guys are going to have to list those numbers in order from least to greatest, and then find out which number is in the middle. Now there's going to be two numbers in the middle because it's an odd numbered list. Maybe there would be one. Would there be one? If there are two numbers in the list, you'd add them up and divide by 2. But if there is just one number in the middle, yeah, there should be just one number in the middle. Yeah, because it's odd numbered, you should have one number in the middle. So that one number that's in the middle from least to greatest, and there's a good description there, the middle number. List it from the least to the greatest and find the number that's in the middle. That's going to be your median. For number 4, calculate all the measures of central tendency for the following data set of Geneva's winning basketball scores from 80 to 82. Okay, so the winning scores. Okay, I'm thinking that those are the years, and we're using all of this data. Okay, so we're not just doing numbers 80 to 82. Okay, pretty certain on that. So we're going to find the mode once again, and you don't have to do the description. So remember the most repeated, then find the range. Okay, and that's the highest minus the lowest. Find the mean. Add all these up and divide by however many numbers there are listed there. And then the median, you got to put these numbers in order from least to greatest, and then find the middle number. For number 5, create a box and whisker plot for the following data set of Geneva's winning basketball scores from 80 to 82. So you are going to go ahead and create that box and whisker plot, and if you want to, you can look for a box and whisker plot online and plug in these numbers, and then that will create it for you. That's a good way to do it. Remember, you have your outliers, and then you have your first 25%. Then you have your median number there. And then you have your next 25%, and then you have your last 25%, and this is your maximum, and this is your minimum. Okay. And working with an online, so if you skip out of here and just Google search, there's many online that you could look up box and whisker plot. You could plug in these numbers, and what it'll do is it'll set this up for you, and then you could fill in the data. You could put the numbers where they go. Okay. First quartile, second quartile, third quartile, fourth quartile. Number 6. Use the data from the box and whisker plot to answer the questions. So that was from number 5. What range does the highest 25% of the scores fall? So when you do that, the highest 25% is going to be from your max to this number that you get here when you do your box and whisker plot. B, what range does the lowest 25% of scores fall in? So the lowest is down here, so your minimum to this, so this first quartile here. B, what range does the lowest 25, that was B, sorry. C, what would you expect the Eagles to score more or less than 85 points in their next win? Explain how you use the box and whisker plot to answer that question. So take a look at where 85 would be. Would you expect them to be there by looking at this data from your box and whisker plot? And you give your opinion of that for C. Number 7, give a real life example of each type of correlation. So a strong positive. Mine yesterday for your homework was the hours that you work compared to how much you get paid. You guys could use that one again. B, a strong negative would be how much gas is in the gas tank with how far you've driven. Okay, so you know you're driving farther. This happened to me last night. My light came on. I had to go way out to Cleveland and back, and I wasn't thinking, and you know it went way down. So it was a strong negative. No correlation. The one that I used in homework was, you know, the number or the age of the people in your class and their height, because at this age, you know, you guys are all different heights, so there really was no correlation. 8, you're just going to list these following correlation coefficients in order from strongest to weakest. So in other words, just go highest to lowest. So just take a look at these numbers and list them in highest to lowest. And then number 8, a student who waits tables at Chops recorded the cost of every meal and then the tip he received from the customers. Create a scatter plot for the data and then find the line of best fit and answer the questions that follow. So you guys could use this on your calculator, and you remember the tips and the steps. I said tips because I was looking at the word tips. The steps, remember the steps that were given to you regarding that. Let me give that to you again. And you guys could pause it and take a look, or take a screenshot of it if you don't have it with you. It's right here. And maybe I go this way. And then you could turn it sideways. And remember, you're just doing steps, step 1 and step 3. Follow those steps to a T when you're entering that data, and it will give you everything you need in order to find the equation, the expected value. You could plug this in for X, 86.25, plug that in, and correlation coefficient it will give you. That's the R value that comes up on your calculator, and the type of correlation. If you're having trouble with your calculator, go online and look up a correlation coefficient calculator. Just Google it, plug in this data. It'll pump out the same stuff. It'll give you the equation, it'll give you the correlation coefficient. You got to figure out, okay, if this is a high number, if it's close to 1, it's a strong positive. If it's real low, below 0, it's going to be a, you know, either a weak negative or a strong negative. Okay, it depends on how low it goes. If it's close to -1, then it's going to be a strong negative. Okay, and then the expected value, once you get the equation, you plug this into X. So you know, whatever that equation is, you just plug it into X, and then that's going to be the expected tip of the bill. Okay, all right, so hopefully this helps, and good luck.